there's power in taking a photograph. There's power in being an artist.
It's the Phoenix Film Revival Podcast.
We're back again for another episode of the Phoenix Film Revival Podcast. Today is Halloween edition.
Woo, spooky.
Woohoo. We have with us some guests. I don't know if you guys know these guys. You might.
He's being so spooky. I think it's because it's the Halloween podcast.
It's the Halloween podcast. I am your host, Daniel Yannicone, and I have with me my lovely wife, Stacy.
Hi,
Who's the other host of the podcast.
that's me.
And we also have Lucinda and Nate.
Hello. Hello.
So,
Welcome.
welcome.
Thanks,
Lucinda,
guys.
welcome twice.
Yeah,
Welcome
second
back.
time. Thank you for having me again.
Lucinda had a do-over. So when was that? That was when Dan first started,
Yep.
which
That
was,
was a while ago.
oh my gosh, a couple years ago. I think it's been now.
Yeah.
Not that long.
It has, I
Maybe
think.
like a year and a half,
I was
two?
looking it up. It was close. I think it's somewhere. It was 22. I think.
22?
I think so.
What?
Yeah.
Dang.
I think if you go back on the episodes, it was a while ago.
Okay.
But
Oh my gosh.
Dan was just trying to find his way. And that one, you weren't
Yeah.
even in person, which is kind of funny because you
No.
live here.
Yeah, we weren't in person.
It was a computer one, and I wasn't on the podcast at that point. And I think it
Stacey
was
was out of
short.
town.
I don't even think it was that long.
That was pretty short.
Yeah. So we're like, we got to get you on. And then plus Nate, we're like, we'll get Nate and Lucinda on.
Yes.
Get both of them on.
Team.
And for those that don't know, you guys are married.
We are.
Newlyweds. You're still in your newlywed.
Mhm. Well, just over a year now.
I think it counts.
Yeah.
You're still good. I still feel like, time goes by so fast. It's hard to.
I know. I can't believe it's been over a year, actually.
Do you guys consider yourselves a film power couple?
Ooh.
I guess so.
Film photography power couple?
We are a film photography power couple. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's so silly.
It's an inside joke. You're part of the joke, but we'll fill you in later.
Yeah. You're going to have to.
We are also a power couple.
I like
Film
that you. I
photography
like
power
that you
couple.
fit it in. We'll have to let the audience know at a later date what that was.
Well, we will.
There's a story there. So, Nate, what is your last name? I always forget. Is it Williams?
It is Williams.
Okay. All right. For some reason, I always forget it. And then, Lucinda, you did not change your last name, correct?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Good for you, because honestly, it's a pain. But
I've heard from everyone that it's a nightmare, so I just
really terrible. Yeah.
didn't want to go through it.
And hers is really
I don't
rare
blame you.
too, so it's worth
Yeah, my last name's pretty uncommon, so and I already have
I
a
want-
website and
I want to pronounce
I
it, and I'm
don't
going to
know.
do it wrong. Is it Garderis?
Garderas.
Garderis. Okay. See, I
Yeah.
can't do the
I
roll.
It's a
Stacey's
hard
too
one.
white.
It's a hard
I'm
one.
way too white for the last name roll. I can't.
It's okay. It's okay.
Guadaladeras? Guadaladeras.
Guadaladeras. No. Guarderas.
Nice.
Nice.
So,
Thanks, guys.
are you both? You're both not originally from here, right? You're both from other
That's correct.
lands,
Yep.
which is
Correct.
99%. It seems like, or 90%
I know.
of everybody. I don't wonder what the actual percentage is, though, of people. Like, I have to look that stat up because I'm actually kind of curious. Because everyone I know, like, generally speaking, minus like you, babe, like,
Yeah.
is not from here. But I wonder what the actual percentage of our population is from somewhere other than here.
There's a lot of people I know that still live in Phoenix or
Yeah.
still live in Arizona that have been here for a while.
People, well, that's people that
growing
you
up.
grew up with, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you know the
Which
people
they
that
were probably
stayed.
born here, I would say. But I mean, I would imagine that percentage is kind of low. Like it's probably like 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really? You
I'm
think
just
it's that
thinking-
low?
I'm thinking compared to other
Maybe,
states.
maybe a little bit less. I mean, I
Like,
guess-
I've
Yeah.
never lived anywhere that's had so
Or
many
more.
people that weren't from there. I mean, New York was like a melting pot for sure.
Yeah.
Like New York City, when I lived there, everybody was from somewhere else for the most part. But like as a whole, like as this city, I mean, New York makes sense. But
Yeah.
for like a regular city, like
well, it's hot here. I don't know
It
that.
is.
I
It
don't
used
know.
to be cheap.
Yeah, and it used to be
once
cheap.
upon a time.
Long ago.
Yeah, land
Yeah.
far, far, far away. But
Yeah.
I guess we're still slightly better than some of the other ones. But
Yeah.
Wow.
So where are you guys from?
I'm from Newburgh, Oregon. It's a small town southwest of Portland.
Oh, cool.
I'm from Los Angeles originally, born in Hollywood. Lived in Orange County for many years before coming out here. Actually lived in a city called Santa Ana for many years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Very cool. What
LA
brought you?
is interesting.
What brought you both out? Why did you end up here?
Just the housing situation in Oregon, kind of too expensive, not too many good opportunities and stuff. And Lucy had just bought a house. I saw she was looking to fill a room, and so I rented a room from her.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how it all started.
it's a landlord situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Exactly.
usually ends way different than my wedding. That's usually more of like a, you
Who
know,
would have thought?
some drive out to the desert kind of.
Well, I will say we were friends for many years before
Yeah.
that. So,
We've known each other probably for 15 years.
yeah, probably a little more than that. Yeah.
How'd you guys end up meeting? Like, what was like? Because you lived in very different places, so.
So she was on tour. She was in a band at the time, and they were doing a West Coast tour up to Seattle or something,
Yeah.
I believe. And I lived in McMinnville, Oregon at the time, and she had a friend from school who had moved from McMinnville recently to Roland Heights. And she said, "Oh, stop by McMinnville and hang out with my old friends who I used to hang out with." And so Lucy stopped by and just kind of fell in love with the town, and lived there for about a year. And so we'd hang out around McMinnville.
Yeah, I ended up going on tour with a couple of other musicians and never went back home.
Oh.
I fell in love with Oregon and
Yeah.
I just didn't leave for like almost 2 years.
Okay.
And then we'd hang out a lot and yeah.
And after, eventually she went back to Los Angeles, and I'd go down there to visit her. Yeah.
It's beautiful up there. I
It's
dated
so
a girl
nice.
who was living. Her family lived in Corvallis, I think.
Okay.
Or I think it was Amity.
Amity.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those ones.
Amity.
But Amity, which was kind of interesting.
It
But
must have been Amity, because you don't know about Amity unless you've been there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very small
and
town.
I remember
Yeah.
McMinnville and getting like this tea from like this basement merchant guy. But that's all I remember. That and eating pizza in like a movie theater.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
yep,
is kind of
Third
fun.
Street Pizza.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a fun little cozy, quiet town, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cute.
Oregon's amazing. It's so different than here. It's
Yes.
It is.
so different.
Yeah.
Very different.
The air is different, and like just all the green
All
and
the
everything's so
trees.
lush there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous up there. I haven't been back in a while.
Yeah, it was very
So
different
nice.
than LA. So
Yeah. LA's sort of like us. We're almost like LA, mini LA, here in
Right.
Phoenix.
yeah, just hotter.
Yeah. And even hotter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Less to do.
Less to do for sure. Yeah. Not as culturally diverse either.
No,
Yeah.
it really isn't. No, which is a shame. You would think, but it's sort of getting there a little better.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, with the price and more people coming, I guess.
Yeah.
But ugh, gross. So, what what bands have you been in? What was the bands? What kind of musician were you?
So I played guitar and bass in a band initially back in Santa Ana called Human Hologram.
Okay.
It was 4 women. And yeah, it was like grunge, rock and roll.
Cool.
But yeah, and then when I moved out here, I played in a band called Hexwave. I played synth in that band. This is probably like goth, dark wave.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Cool.
Had a project called Night Spells, which is like a synthwave project with a buddy of mine.
Heck yeah.
Very cool.
Those are our sort of jams.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we always recommend people go to Rips for
Yeah, that was
Goth
my
night.
spot when I first moved here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rips Goth Night. Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. I'm convinced some of the people that go there are like real vampires. I'm not convinced like some of them aren't actually vampire people.
We went once, and Stacy's like, "That guy up there, I bet he's an accountant or something. He works in HR."
Well, it's a lot of older people. It's like
It is.
it's not,
Yeah.
the young crowd. It's definitely older crowd people. So
For
you're
sure.
seeing like people all the way up into their 60s there.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to see them like super gothy. And I'm like, what are your day jobs? I want to know everyone's day job. But a couple of the folks that show up for that, I'm like, oh man, you might be like a legit like vampire guy. I'm not sure. Like you look like it. But no, yeah, Rips is super fun. We gotta go back. I think last time we went, we were so tired, we just stood in the corner. I mean, it was really goth appropriate.
Yeah.
Because we were just standing in the corner, just sort of like, just wiggling. Like, we're cool. So you ended up in Phoenix, how? Like whenever.
You know what? I was kind of just ready for change.
Okay.
And I took a job out here. My goal was to buy a house, and I knew that it would be very difficult to buy a house in LA.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just kind of was ready for a change and decided to come out here, and then actually really liked it. Which I never thought that I would like it, because I've always been someone who hates the heat.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, I adjusted. You know, you get used to it. Kind of. Never like truly get used to it when you're in it, right?
The really bad one, yeah.
But you know, I don't know, I really liked it, and started playing in bands and started meeting people. And then eventually started shooting.
Are you doing film? Or are you doing digital?
When I first started shooting, well, I've always like back in high school, I always had like Polaroids. I've always had a Polaroid camera.
Yeah.
I had like a cyber shot. But I think I really started getting into it like towards the tail end of COVID. I was just I bought a Fujifilm digital camera. And then we went on a trip to Puerto Rico on vacation. And I don't know, I just started shooting a lot from there. And then I bought my first film camera, and I was like, once I had like a couple roles developed, I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I stopped shooting digital for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah. The D word.
Did Dan develop one of your first roles?
Yeah.
Say what?
Yeah, I believe you did. Way back.
Oh my God, were you one of the people that had to throw it over the fence?
No.
Previously on the Phoenix Film Revival podcast. we used to have people throw their film over our fence in our backyard.
Oh.
That's just the best way to do it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, I should probably put a box out here for people to
Until
aim for.
the day that the maintenance man came around and
it was a little heart attack.
cleaned the backyard.
During COVID, we were doing film development for people, and then I was also buying film, and I was like, well, I gotta figure out a way to keep the lab going.
Yeah.
And literally just had people throw film in a bag with their name and their phone number over the fence. And then what I would do is I would end up like sending them an invoice or an email, and then follow up with them, and charge them, and then send them their files, and then hang on to their negatives. Yeah, it was not good. But
No, yeah, you did develop one of my first roles. I just remembered. I think I like dropped it off at the plant shop, maybe it wasn't Pueblo at the time, but yeah, I think I dropped it off there, and then we met shortly after that or something.
Okay.
But no, I didn't throw it over.
yeah, wonder if your film's in my giant stack of negatives.
oh my God, it might be.
We picked up the negatives, I believe.
I think we did.
You're
I think
one of
we
the
did.
few.
Yeah.
No one does. No one comes back
The
for
few,
the poor
the
thing.
proud,
I know,
the
we
people who
did-
pick up the negatives.
We should do a little like.
Yeah, I saved my negatives.
I keep wanting to do some sort of project with the leftover negatives, like just as a whole, because we have so many that have been left behind. So I almost want to do a little project with
Yeah.
the film that people leave behind. And
Yeah,
some of
that'd be
the find the really good photos, like
The
that are
best
in there.
ones, yeah.
And pull them out and be like, you left them. They're ours now.
Making a print.
Dan can't get rid of them. We're like debating because at a lot of labs they'll throw them out. I mean, it's a space thing, and we don't process film. We really only do it through workshops, and like we have a patron level where we'll do like a roll for you, like a month or whatever. But we don't do a lot of processing, so it's not a huge deal. And we don't have a huge pile there, but it's still like a fairly significant pile of negatives that are sitting that we
Yeah.
I can imagine
just don't want to get
how
rid of them.
big
We don't
it
want
must
to
be.
Yeah, we just don't want to throw them away because then the moment you throw them away is the moment someone comes looking for those things.
Yeah.
Do you have my negatives from 6 years ago?
That's kind
I
of
just threw them out.
Yeah, like so we've debated on throwing it out, but it doesn't take up too much space. So we're like, I guess we'll
Yeah.
keep it.
Was that your first roll of film? or was that just the first one? you
No, it
dropped
wasn't
off
my
with?
first. It was like maybe my second or third role, but it was
Okay.
it was like one of the
nice.
first ones. Yeah,
Okay, awesome,
Very cool. It was color, I assume.
yeah,
nice.
Nice.
Back when it was cheaper.
yeah. The good old days, right?
Tier.
I assume Dan did a good job.
Of course.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was all right. It's probably Ryan that developed it. I'll blame it on
You know,
him.
it was Ryan. Actually,
it?
you guys told me later it was Ryan.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you had
Okay.
you were recruiting Ryan to help.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, Ryan Casillas, bless his soul. Just kidding.
that's right.
He's a father now, so his
He
life
is,
is over.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What's up, Poppy?
Jeez.
It's all over.
Poppy.
Poppy Ryan.
He's got a new nickname now.
He's dad.
But yeah, I would have him come in and help develop, which was nice of him.
Yeah.
We would just go at it, and I would load, and then he would develop, and then we'd hang it up and dry, and then we'd trim and sleeve them, and then I think I would go home and scan it and spend the rest of my evening scanning.
Scanning's the worst.
Ugh.
Who needs sleep? Yeah, on a
You were
flatbed.
using a
Yeah.
flatbed too, right?
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
That's a lot of the
Yeah,
reason we
it
don't
takes a
we
long
don't do
time
people's
that
film
way.
because we're like, I don't want to scan any of that.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
get good colors on my flatbed. I have a 750 and cannot get it to work.
Yeah.
I've had so
Maybe
many
I'll
issues with it. Yeah.
Pick your brain about that later.
Yeah, I just take it to a lab and have them do it.
But it's 4x5.
Ugh. Yeah,
Oh, it's a
there's
little tricky.
There's ways to do it. I think it's just that's a little tricky to get it balanced just right. The
Yeah.
important thing is that you have to develop it properly, because that's a huge factor in getting consistent color with
Yeah.
that. Because if your kit gets really old, it starts to shift and it becomes a nightmare to try and
Sure,
balance that
yeah.
back. I'm sure you guys know that.
Absolutely.
But so you guys have been shooting for a while now.
Did you, Nate? Were you shooting, or did Lucinda get you into film?
She got me into film.
She did. Okay.
We went to Puerto Penasco for our anniversary when we were dating, before we were married. And she got me a disposable camera with some Fuji 800 film in it. And took me a while to finish the roll, 27 shots. And when I got the film back, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. I love this.
Yeah.
And I picked up a Canon A1 and yeah, went from there.
Nice, nice. And you guys came to one of our workshops.
Yep.
We did. That's how we learned how to develop our film.
Nice.
Thanks to you guys.
Nice. I think you had friends too. I think you guys came in
Yeah.
with other people you knew.
Yep.
They moved, right? Like they
Right.
went
Yeah,
somewhere
Zach
else.
and Savannah.
They're in Kansas now. Yeah.
Kansas. What's going on in Kansas?
Stuff.
There's a few things.
Cheaper
here
rent.
and there.
Yeah,
Cheap
cheaper
rent.
rent. Yeah.
Cheap rent is probably
affordable.
100% what's
Yeah.
going on in Kansas. I'm a
Yeah.
little-
Probably a tornado here and there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's already
Yeah.
is. That's true. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, that was a while ago, I guess. That was a couple of years.
We tend to meet most people through the lab.
Almost 4 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was part of the workshop, right?
Yeah.
You were there.
Yep.
Yeah, so like 4-ish, give or take. Because
Right. 2020.
we've been chugging
Yeah.
along for a while now.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys have.
Yeah. So you guys saving tons and tons of money developing your own film?
Oh my gosh.
Definitely.
Was that your main reason? Like, we were like, this is getting expensive, or like the control, or you just wanted to find out how to do it?
Probably the control. Just we wanted to be responsible for whatever mistakes may or may not happen, and
Yeah.
not leave it in the hands of a lab.
Were you getting burned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what was it? Like 10 rolls of slide film. or
It was
something?
7 rolls.
7 rolls.
We went on a trip down to Bisbee, and we came back. I dropped off 7 rolls at a local lab, and they decided to try a new batch of chemicals, like a whole new type of slide film, E6 chemicals, and for some reason tried it on several rolls for their customers.
Yikes.
And yeah,
They developed all 7 together. And
all 7 together. First time using those new chemicals.
oh, God.
Yeah, they went to
think
those.
I-
I don't know, some new
It
batch.
was retrochrome,
It's
wasn't
Cinestill.
it?
Yeah, the Cinestill one. Yeah,
Yeah.
E6 Cinestill.
Oh, is
I
that the
hear
kit that has the wrong directions in the box?
Well, the timing's different, and it's funny because I remember you reached out to me about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Are they all dark?" And you're like, "Yep." I'm like, "Well, they went off of what the box says to do and didn't do like a test run first, which is unfortunate. 'cause
Yeah.
anytime you deal with new chemistry, you always want to do a test roll and make sure that your chems are like,
Oh,
is it
yeah.
going to take you a little bit more time?
Of course.
But,
Yeah.
it's an extra, half an hour to run a roll.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like you're going to ruin 7 rolls of film for somebody. Like, and then
Other people's film too, because,
Yeah.
like, I'm sure they would only develop E6 like once a month. So I can imagine they had
Yeah.
a lot of rolls.
Yeah, it's probably quite a few. And
Yeah.
if you're not familiar with it, because that actually happened to me. I had that happen with the same kit and was kind of surprised. I'm like, this is like really, really dark for what this says.
Yeah.
And it feels like it should be much brighter for slide film. But that sucks.
Yeah,
So then
that's
we
unfortunate.
took your development class.
Woo.
Yep.
Realized it was a lot easier than everyone makes it sound.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
It
no
is,
reason not to
yeah.
do it. Take the class, spend like $150 on the basic material. You can do it in your bathroom.
It's so worth it. Like, I've saved thousands of dollars over just the last couple of years. I mean, I shoot a lot of rolls. I mean, I do shoot regularly, so it's I don't know, it's a lot of money, and it doesn't take that much time. And not only that, but the control that you have over your development, your scans, and everything. It's just really convenient. And once it's a little overwhelming at first, but once you get going, like, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's for film development, it's really just a matter of loading your film up.
Yeah.
Once it's loaded, then it's just a matter of following what the kit says to do.
Yep.
And it's a big jump, especially if you haven't done it before.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you have to invest a little bit in all that equipment. And it's interesting. We get quite a few people that come into the lab that take the workshop and then they don't continue on. But it's one of those things like a hobby. You want to participate in it, and you can take pictures. And then what do you do when you take pictures? Well, you drop your film off at the lab. Well, what else can you do? Well, you can take a workshop on how to develop it. So it's more of like an experience. But we've met quite a few people that have kind of switched over and started developing their own film just because with how much they shoot, it just makes that much more sense. And especially getting burned on certain situations where there's a frame where you're like, this can't be screwed up. And,
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that kit's, correct and know what to expect and get
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
I
And
feel
if there's an
bad.
issue, then,
It's on you.
it's on you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel better about that. Like whenever I screw up, I'm like, well, that's on me because
Exactly.
I've done that. I had a roll the other day, and I went and I took it out, and I usually keep the little swizzle stick out, and once I'm out of the bag, I put it in, and I put the swizzle stick in, and it just dropped to the bottom of the container, and I was like,
That and a bunch of light.
fuck, because I just put the roll in there, but I didn't put it on the post. I just put the roll in.
Oh,
So
no.
the lip is on, but I was like, as soon as I put the swizzle stick in, I'm like, shit. I was like, my bad. Like, that's on me. Like, I have no one to blame but me. But
It
if
happens, yeah.
I'm paying someone else to do it, I'd be much more angry about that if they
Right.
told me they did it. Because I'm like, you need to. I mean, they're human and they screw up too, but still, like,
So-
it's a lot easier to swallow.
with how much you've developed over time, do you feel like it was challenging to become more confident with developing, or do you feel like you picked it up pretty quickly?
No, I feel like I picked it up pretty quickly.
Okay.
I mean, it's really a matter of following the instructions. Like,
That's a couple steps. It's
yeah,
literally
it's,
like,
it's not too difficult.
yeah, I think I've had some people kind of, they post up and they're like, what's happening with my film? And they get these weird results. And I feel like one of the biggest issues that people have is cross-contamination. And like they ruin their developer, or, that, or their kit's really old, or there's something that happens because they'll follow the instructions. I mean, it's pretty simple. Pour this in for like X amount of time and then agitate a little bit. It's not something crazy like,
Yeah.
you got to cook these eggs at like this certain temperature and then add the sugar at this exact moment and then, stir it a certain way to get it to, that sort of thing. It's kind of easy.
It is. No, it really is.
You save so much money
Yeah.
if you do the math on it. And it's like, not that labs aren't great, because we need labs. We absolutely
Definitely.
need them. But if you're really serious about your photography and you do shoot a lot and you are starting to get concerned about the price, like that's your easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Get that step. I mean, scanning's a pain in the ass, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and especially like because we do shoot a lot of 4x5 now. Not a lot of labs develop or scan 4x5, so I mean,
Yeah, you almost kind of get forced into having to do it yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. 4x5, I mean, I've scanned it before. I've used a flatbed, and then I just scan it in 2 pass and then merge it together. It's
Yeah.
kind of my only option, really. But there's other nicer scanners if you get like the Epson V750 or the 800.
Yeah, anything
Yeah.
about
It's a step up.
yeah. That's the one we have and are struggling with. But I actually think it has an issue.
It's something with the white balance or something.
Oh,
It's
that's not good.
Yeah.
something else. He took it apart already once, and
It was fixed for a little bit.
it
and
was
then
working
came
for a
back.
little bit.
Yeah.
But
Some,
so that
like,
there's
yellow
an issue.
banding.
Yeah. I'm sure Nate takes a lot of things. For it.
Yes.
Always. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, especially with these old cameras. And
Yeah.
always
Got it.
something breaking.
Gotta fix it.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with it, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, your day job's electrician, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so you're probably like not afraid to pop stuff open.
No, yeah. And if it's already a broken camera, nothing worse that could happen. So.
Yeah.
That's true. It can't get any
Yeah.
more broke.
Exactly.
It's true.
Yeah, those cameras, though, as soon as you pop a camera open, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many pieces.
Yeah.
And so many little tiny wheels and things. It's
Yeah.
like, what is going on? You realize like how engineered those cameras really are.
Yeah.
Once you pop one open or break one, and you're like, oh my god.
I lost a screw.
So I definitely like the older ones better. Like, I don't know, 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s are
Yeah.
a little easier to
Much
work
more
on.
simple.
Than,
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. I like the box camera. I'm like, that's
Yep.
that's simple. There's a hole
Yeah.
there. There's like one lever.
Yep.
Simple. I can figure this out. We had someone come into the lab just this week, and he brought a box camera with him. He's like, "You think it still works?" I'm like, "There's nothing to break."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, it's a box.
So any leaks on the side, then you're good.
No, and it's
Cover
like
it
double
in
box
tape.
because they go
Yeah.
together. So it's like you'd have to have both of these boxes like have a hole in it. And I'm like, nah, you're good. Like that's a tank. The best camera you can ever have. Yeah,
Yep.
no problem. Listen, what do you do for day job? I don't even know.
I work in insurance.
Insurance. Okay.
Yep, I've worked for insurance for many years now, and then we do photography as a side gig.
Yeah. I've seen that you guys have been branching out. You guys do like concert stuff, and you've been doing some music video stuff too. Recently, I saw you've been doing some Super 8.
Yeah,
I'm getting into that.
yeah. I've
16 too.
been shooting a lot of Super 8. I've been collaborating with artists locally. Recently, we collaborated with Tati Crespo, who's an amazing accordion player and singer and performer. We shot a music video for her.
Very cool.
Yeah, her latest single.
That's
That's
very
awesome. We actually, ironically, know her. We met her at ZonaFest, and we took a picture of her at ZonaFest. So, small
Yeah.
world.
I know. I think I saw the picture actually.
Yeah. But you just did a 8mm video of her, right?
Yeah,
A music video.
yeah. We shot a Super 8 music video out in Florence, Arizona.
very cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How was the challenges with that? Did you have any?
The challenges were you got to plan ahead when you're working with Super 8 because for one, the film's expensive, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So preparation is absolutely key when you're shooting with Super 8 in general, but especially for a music video. So, storyboarding is important, knowing exactly what you're going to do when you're getting into it. Whereas with, shooting digital, you can just shoot and
Yeah.
so many takes. You got to kind of get it right on the first take, So preparation is key. This song is called Nighttime in the Desert. So we found this like incredible spot out in Florence with these beautiful boulders and giant saguaros. And I don't know, the spot was just perfect for the video.
Nice. Where do you send your film out to? Because I'm assuming you're not developing that at home.
Yeah, no, definitely not. No. A place called Negative Land.
Where are they out of? I don't know
They
the name.
are out of New York.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. They have pretty good turnaround time and prices and things.
Yeah, they do actually. About a week is the turnaround
Oh,
time.
wow.
That's
Maybe a week
really
and a
good.
half at most.
It's super fast.
Yeah, 4K scans. They're compared to, I mean, I've done my research on other labs that develop Super 8, and they're pretty affordable
Yeah.
compared to some of the other labs. But they do solid work. Really
That's
happy
good.
with, their service so far.
Nice.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I briefly saw some of the video, and I was kind of looking at just how clean it looked. So,
Yeah.
turned out pretty good. It's tricky with lighting, at least that I've heard. Do you have troubles with lighting?
We brought
Well-
a lot of lights.
Good.
Yeah, lights with a Jackery, so Jackery powered lights out in the middle
yeah,
of
just the-
nowhere.
Power that we had problems with, probably.
Yeah, I was just like
Yeah.
trying to get everything done before the Jackery dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of it, right?
Yeah, but I'm happy with it.
Good.
Very cool. You guys experiment a lot. We always say, like, we mentioned sometimes, like, we're like, I bet, if we talk about a film, I'm like, I bet Lucinda tried that.
Right.
Because it seems like you try a lot of different films and things.
I feel like I went through a phase where, like, especially when I first started shooting film, I just wanted to, like, try all the different films. You know what I mean? Because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of figure out, like, what films work for what situations. Portrait's good for portraits, and if you want like high contrast and HP5, like that's how you figure shit out.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't really know until you shoot, because everything that you see, I know there's a lot of publications online and different people that shoot, and they're like, oh, this is the effect that you get. And there's some, like, it's obviously the better choice to use one over the other. But at the same time, you might prefer one versus, not the one that they recommend.
Yeah,
And you really don't know until you shoot it. And,
exactly.
like Acros, I didn't realize how contrasty Acros was.
Acros is really
Yeah.
contrasty.
But like that would be fun for a certain project. But once you shoot it, then you know what that effect is. And you're like, oh, okay, I know what I would want to use this for. So,
Exactly. Yep.
but yeah, you
Yeah.
probably have a lot of knowledge with shooting.
Yeah,
Different types.
I do. Yeah.
Do you take little notes or anything, or you just mentally kind of just remember all your different films that you've done, or you?
I have like a notepad in my phone where I take notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking notes.
Just because I always have my phone on me, so
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have that reference point. I know some people get kind of stuck in like a rut with like how they shoot. I do a little bit, the most part. If I want to do like, depending on what my after thing is, if I want to print just straight up like prints, I'll be like still for Delta. I just like that film for that.
Yeah.
But if I want to Mortensage something, I'm like HP5 because I need that contrast part of it to do it. So it's like I kind of go
Yeah.
back and forth depending on what my end result is. But I think a lot of people stay pretty narrow on like the films that they shoot. I mean, a lot of people don't even shoot black and white, or they just stay
Right.
with color.
You stick to color or stick
Yeah.
to black and white. Yeah.
Yeah, people tend to do that.
And I think you were experimenting with some trichromes, right? Where you're doing
Yeah.
different ones.
It's been a while. That was kind of
Brief.
yeah, kind of brief. More work than I wanted to put in on the
Yeah.
editing portion of it. Yeah.
Got to shoot
But
3
it's-
different shots. And
Yeah, I
Hopefully
kind
they
of want to
blend
get back
together.
to it with large format trichromes and see how that goes.
Yeah. Still life or something that doesn't move
Yeah.
too much.
Yep. Yeah, lately it's been a lot of direct positive paper actually.
Nice.
So that's been fun.
Which is a beast.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to get the metering down for that.
That paper is so tricky because
Yeah.
it's like they tell you it's anywhere between like 0 and 3, but that range is not right even on that, and depends on if you're indoors, outdoors. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, we use that paper for our booth. We use the direct positive paper, and
That's
anyone's
right.
ever worked with it, it's like, man, it's some tricky
It's
stuff.
very contrasty, but it's
Yeah.
it's kind of tricky just to get the exposure right. But you guys were using, was it Acufine, or what was your developer?
Liquid all.
Liquidol. Yeah.
Liquidol.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that brings that contrast down a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Helps a
that's
smidge. Yeah, I found that the temperature is a big thing with that film or paper, because whenever it's like super hot, it like, man, it's contrasty. And it's
Yeah.
super fast when it develops as well. But when it's cold, and I only noticed this because we do the booth, and sometimes we've done the booth outside and it's been really cold, and we start with like super cold chems. And like it takes a really long time, but it always ends up looking better. And I was like, oh man, I gotta just get this cooler. So I've actually put in, and we go to events sometimes, I'll put like an ice pack like in there with it just to
Smart.
kind of
Yeah.
slow it down a bit. Just because it's like that stuff
Yeah.
can get really just the heat of my hands being in it in the chems all day is like enough to make it
Yeah.
like way out of whack, and it gets really weird.
Were you guys developing on site when you were shooting the direct positive?
We did that the first couple times. Since then, I've gotten a couple more 5x7 holders, so I'm not just restricted to 2 shots or 4 shots or something. Back when I only had 1 holder, it was like I needed
It's a nightmare.
to get those out of there and process
Yeah.
them, and
Yeah.
see if I needed to reshoot the shot or
Yeah.
yeah.
I started using that paper with pinholes. That was my like where I was
Yeah.
introduced to that paper. I had a Ilford's pinhole camera, which is actually a really nice camera. It works really well. But I was using that paper, and I had never printed anything up until that point. So that was like my first time printing was with that paper, and like my first like taste of darkroom. And that's when I started having red lights and actual trays and things like that in my bathroom. And that paper was where I started, which was like kind of starting on hard mode with the paper. But I remember being, I remember going through a couple boxes before I actually got images. I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of so particular. And even with pinhole, I'm like, okay, I have to kind of disregard like this ISO on this thing. I just have to, it needs just so much light. It's
Yeah.
just a ridiculous amount. Even with a pinhole, which is like an f-stop of, I think that camera's like 250 something or
Yeah.
other.
Oh, wow.
And in full bright Arizona sun, it's like bare minimum. It's like a minute. It's just so aggressive.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I know it's like so much light, but yeah, that paper's fun to
Yeah.
use. It's
I like that you just get a finished product
yeah,
right there. So I put them I put the ones I like in a photo album, and it's gonna kind of just be. We're looking at moving out of Arizona pretty soon, and so I'm trying just to get anything that's kind of more significant and personal to me documented on that paper and in this photo album.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that'll be
It's like a nicer version of Polaroid.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cleaner version.
Yeah.
It's a cleaner version of Polaroid. Yeah,
Kind
exactly.
of
Yeah.
less tricky. I don't know. Depends on the
It's-
Polaroid camera you have, right?
Yeah,
Because,
yeah,
you know, SX70s are a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. They definitely are.
Yeah. Have you guys experimented with any just like the regular paper, the just standard RC
Oh,
paper?
yeah.
I've
just
been
doing-
meaning to do that, but we haven't gotten around.
we
to
haven't
it.
yet.
Yeah, that's
We're
stuff
going to, yeah.
so much easier to work with. But again, you have to obviously scan it in order to get a positive.
Yeah.
But I was doing portraits for a while with that and was like, this is just amazing. I got a 4x5 camera. I didn't have the scanner. I didn't know like how much, who to send it to, and the film was kind of expensive.
Yeah.
And so, I was kind of on a budget, so I was like, I'm just going to use this paper because I know it's cheap, and I know I can develop it in my little bathroom, whatever, and
Yeah.
then just scan it with the regular flatbed, and I was getting these like amazing results, and
Nice.
so I just kept shooting more and more and more with that paper for portraits, but yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
paper's nice. That's what I switched to. I switched to just shooting regular paper for pinholes when I was doing tons and tons of pinholes. I'm like, okay, I need something that's a little
Scan
less
it in.
aggressively contrasty.
Get a couple more ISO.
See, he likes that instant, almost, well, I wouldn't say it's not instant, but it's, that quick gratification he gets from just being able to go home and quickly develop it and
Yeah.
have the photo, not have to deal with the scanner. But
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if you make
It's tricky, though.
a little box and then you make a contact printer and
There you
stick
go.
it in there.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There you go. You still could do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
smart.
For a little while, we were doing that in front of. I guess I was doing that in front of the lab. I had a little like photo booth thing set up in front of where we're at now on Grand Ave, and it was before we even moved in. We got invited to just do like a little pop up thing, and I just remember it being like a nightmare to shoot and then develop it and then wash it and then dry it and then contact print that onto another sheet of paper in a box, and I couldn't turn the light on or up or down. I had to like have it all set up, but I had a couple good shots with that, and I'm like, holy crap, this is so cool.
I didn't know you could
And how much
contact
were you
print it.
charging for those?
I was charging $5.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my.
Whoever, yeah, there was this one shot that I got that I fortunately was able to document. Took a picture of it, but it looked so clean. It was so good, and I was like, oh man, the light was coming through, and there was this little. It was a couple and their daughter, and they wanted a picture of their daughter, and the sun was shining through the gate, through the chain link fence there.
Okay.
And it was like casting a shadow across her face with like the shadows of the fence, and yeah, it just looked really cool. I was like,
Nice.
man, I nailed it.
Awesome.
That is a
That's
good
the best
feeling.
feeling, right?
Oh yeah, I was like, I got the exposure right. Then I screwed up there. They got one as well, but then the magnet opened on the case and
Oh, no.
I ruined it. I was like, sorry. Well, we got one, so
A good one.
for $5.
For $5,
matters.
they can't really complain.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work for $5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It
Yeah.
barely covers the paper.
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much just the
As
paper.
Dan does things, he just likes having.
Yeah.
He's just having fun.
Just here. to
Yeah.
have
It's having fun. It's all right.
fun. Yep.
Nice. And you guys came over and we did tintypes. Did you guys been doing any more tintype stuff? Experimenting?
No,
It's
I've
hard.
been-
It's so expensive to.
Meaning to. It's I just gotta re-up on the chemicals and stuff. Yeah.
It's tricky.
So many different projects.
Yeah.
Get some gloves this time.
Get some gloves. Please get some gloves.
and mask,
That's
maybe.
concerning.
Yeah.
That stuff can be.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of tintype people too. Like they just kind of give up and they don't care.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but
Just
all
roll
the
it.
tintype guys we've met is like, guys, you know the safety, and they know,
Yeah.
like it's a safety thing. But I think it's also like they're like, well,
With tintype, because I mean, there's so much to it to get it right.
yeah, there really is.
It's quite a process. So I feel like if you tintype, like that's what you do. You
Yeah.
know, you don't.
Yeah.
You're full in on it.
You're
it's
in,
hard to do.
you know,
like,
and that's you need to
Yeah.
dedicate yourself to doing that because it's not easy to get good at it. So
Takes
Yeah.
a lot of practice. And I
Yeah.
think that was one of the bottlenecks for us was that and we didn't really have that much stuff that we just wanted to shoot over and over and over again with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just need to find an excuse to re-up on the chemicals and shoot it. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of other projects going on. We try to do portrait sessions, and you know, lately we've shot a couple music videos, and you know, we both work full-time jobs, and
Yep.
we always got something going on. But yeah, with tintypes, like it takes dedication for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Trial and error.
Trial and error, yeah.
Expensive trial and error.
Very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, that adds up. People are like, we always tell people like come through the lab and they talk about tintype. I'm like, you know, they want to like try that. I'm like,
Yeah.
you need to try some other stuff first. I swear.
Try
Trust
a
me.
cyanotype.
Yeah, like work your way in there because that's
Yeah.
just a lot of money. in.
Cyanotypes could be difficult too, but I mean,
But-
when they're contrasted, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
Not on the level of tintype, though.
Yeah,
True.
your cost is like pretty much just the paper. Pretty
Yeah.
much is where your cost is on doing cyanotypes as well.
Yeah.
We've met a few tintypers, and it's interesting. Everybody has their own style with tintypes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's Megan, who I got a portrait with, and then you got one with Silver and Cedar.
Silver and cedar. Yeah.
And then we most recently got one with Joseph Wyman
Uh-huh.
and
And Eric
Eric
Ritterbush.
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 We
Is
didn't get
Ritterbush.
one with him.
We didn't, but we met him and
we got to meet
the same
him.
event. Yeah.
He was doing tintypes outside, which that's
Yeah.
like a whole
On
other level.
Panoramics
try
and
that.
tintypes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was doing some
That's
really
cool.
nice group
Yeah.
ones. Yeah,
That's
very cool.
really
He's up in
neat.
Flag.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Joseph's everywhere. He has a van. He like drives everywhere. He said he'd be on the podcast. We just have to. I think we're waiting till he's a little more stable because he's like everywhere, literally all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he lives out of his van. Although I think they are buying a house possibly in Pennsylvania or in New York. They haven't decided which one.
I told him PA.
I told him
'cause,
PA as
yeah,
well.
I was like,
So he might be settling down. I think once he gets settled down, we'll be able to have a good talk with him.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting because that's like all he does is tintype. He's like, and his tintypes are very on
It's
point.
interesting too because it's like the one that I had done a few years back is kind of faded and it has like a different sort of feel to it. But then Joseph's got one that the black pops so much more.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird. I don't know if it's the plate or if it's the...
I think it's the varnish.
the
I think he
varnish.
has a very
Yeah.
specific varnishing that he's doing on his plates. He doesn't give them to you the same day either, it seems. I think because we had to wait, he takes them and then he mails them back out to people or gives them back.
Yeah, which is
after
the
he does
varnish.
Yeah,
he
the
does
varnish
varnishing.
probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
the varnishing looks really spot on, but super clean.
Yeah, definitely a process.
Oh my
It's
God,
awesome,
such a
though.
process.
It's so
the people that
cool.
are so good at it too, like make it look so easy. And,
Yeah.
and you know it's not.
Yeah.
You're like,
Because that's
"Oh,
all they
damn."
do.
That's
You
all
know what
they
I
do.
mean? They're
Yep.
dedicated to it. That's their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did one of us.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I still need to get that back to you guys.
Wasn't it around Halloween too?
I think so. Yeah,
We had the pumpkin heads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would have been.
Last year.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, that was
That was a
fun.
year ago. Wow.
Yeah, that's a fun process though. Just like the pouring and stuff, you feel like so
Yeah.
involved with it. It's nice. It's nice where you feel like you're really truly making everything by yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the fun of film generally speaking. But when you're even like doing the chems and pouring on the plate, it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, this feels like I'm really, really doing this. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like if everything went away manufacture wise, you'd still be able to find like raw chemicals and still be able to make photos, which is kind of cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
couldn't quite do like party, like, you know, all the stuff kids do nowadays with you know, disposable cameras with flashes. wouldn't quite be the same.
No.
Try and pull that off with a tintype.
Yeah. Not so much.
That'd be cool though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be a pretty cool tintype.
There's dry plates as well. I was thinking, like,
Yeah.
dry plates are kind of a nice in between where you're not doing quite as much work, but they still kind of amazing looking.
Yeah.
I've seen a few vendors that are online that seem to have somewhat reasonable prices for that. That zebra plate.
Zebra. I was going to
Yeah.
say zebra
Yeah,
plate. Yeah.
they seem like they have pretty solid plates. I haven't gotten any from them. I'm curious, like what the quality is. It looks okay from what I've seen, but
Probably pricey, and probably shipping would be a little much.
maybe we'll have to check
Depends
it out.
on the weight and the glass. and
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty curious. And I found those old glass plates that we had in the lab.
Yeah, I had them hiding, and Stacy found them.
Well, they don't stay any better. They just kept getting older and aging, and we had like a few boxes. I think we might still have a box somewhere.
Stacy made a print to one of them as a negative to positive, and it turned out pretty cool.
It did turn out
Nice.
pretty cool. We did get
But
one.
It's like
but
an 8x8 plate.
yeah, it's a big plate, but the rest of the plates were kind of toast.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's hard. I've done that with like liquid light. Have you ever worked with liquid light?
No.
It's terrible.
Don't do it.
It's really bad.
garbage.
What's the company that makes that? That's
Rockland.
Rockland. Rockland tries on some
Yeah.
of those products, but a lot of their products not so great. The tinting, the color tinting, not great. And then they've also had a tintype kit, which wasn't even tintype. It was really just their liquid light that was like repackaged, and they called it tintype. So that was a little strange. And then the liquid light, but liquid light, you're supposedly be able to put it on anything, and I've tried to put it on plates and things, but phew,
It's like
that's-
Elmer's glue.
It's like Elmer's
But
glue.
it's supposed to go down a little bit more liquidy. But
Yeah.
Could you put
Very hard.
cyanotype on a plate and shoot that?
No, you can't. Cyanotype won't work like that because the ISO is like not really a thing.
Oh, you
With it.
you just
There's
get a meter
people that have
for it, or-
made
Yeah.
in-camera cyanotypes, but they've, you have to be like a day
Oh,
to do it,
exposure's
to
like
put it, and it's
way
you
down.
barely can see it. Yeah, it just
Darn.
won't work like that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's truly meant for.
Feed in a lot of UV light or something.
Yeah, it's very much a contact print. And it's not cyanotype. Not even. I use it when I do. I use it with photos that I do contact prints, but it's not even really meant for that. It's really meant for, objects.
Yeah.
And things. I mean, that's its true purpose.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. And trying to use it for photography is difficult at best. It really is. It's just not super suited to it. It's such an easy thing to do as far as that goes, and like accessible, which is really great because you feel like you can feel safe about it and doing it at home and around pets and like kids.
It's
And
cheap.
it's so cheap. You can do it. It's super accessible, and the fact that you
Accessible,
don't
yeah.
need anything other than UV, which is super nice. But my stuff, whenever I do it, I'm always trying to kind of push the process a little different. And what else can I get out of this?
Yeah.
I haven't worked on cyanotypes in a while. It's been a moment.
Yeah,
there.
your stuff is awesome.
But I always try to kind of like, what can I do different? What's a little different here that I can do? But there's only so much you can do with. I mean, it's blue. It's like you have to like blue.
You gotta drop it
Obviously,
in
with
some
just-
instant coffee. That's
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah.
you
But
do
there's
that.
so many ways to.
Yeah. Like the
There's so many
toning.
like levels of cyanotype.
Oh
Really,
yeah, absolutely. You can do so many things.
You can always
It's
put it
very
on
versatile.
clothes.
Oh my god, don't
I-
get me started.
I
You can't
tried.
put
I
it on your
tried.
clothes.
Yeah, that's my rant. I think
I like to
ran-
rail Stacey up
I think
with that.
I've had that rant on here before. I think maybe, but
Yeah.
just it's you can,
Just know.
you totally can, you can do it, but just know it's not going to last. It won't work.
Oh.
I'm constantly seeing that on the
Tried.
on Reddit. The Reddit cyanotype workshop is just all people doing it on clothes, and they're like, "Why didn't this come out?"
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm on
it's
there
not-
too, and I've seen
I'm like-
those posts.
I'm like, no, because you're not supposed to do it on it. It won't work. It's not really meant for that. It's
Yeah.
like it's just fundamentally it doesn't. People are trying to use it that way, but it's not fundamentally.
for
It's
that.
just not for
Yeah.
that, and it's not going to look great. It's not going to work great in long term. It's really not going to look good. Even if you treat something that's, you can get images on fabric very easily. You can do it.
Yeah.
But over time, even if you don't wash them, treat them pretty good, it's still not gonna look good. It's gonna fade eventually, and it's gonna go away. So, yeah, I always tell people don't do it. Just get Solar Fast, which I keep saying that I haven't actually used Solar Fast, but it's made to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that that is your better product. to
I
go
actually
with.
recently bought a bottle of the Solar Fast, but I haven't used it yet. So
Yeah.
get around to it eventually. I do want to try it because I've seen some pretty cool shirts and stuff that people have made. What's funny is that, I've seen people online like try to sell cyanotype shirts that they've made.
Yeah.
And then I think that's going to fade. You know what I mean? It's not going to look good in a bit. So
Yeah.
The amount of
It's
Etsy
kinda
shops
wild.
that I've seen with
Yeah.
clothing that's made cyanotype that has no warning whatsoever about
Yeah.
anything is too many.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Cyanotype's
Etsy,
very
yeah.
strange.
Or the-
Cyanotype's a weird one. Cyanotype is one of those, it's like soap. So if you've ever made your own soap, everyone learns how to do it and then automatically starts selling it. Which is, I don't know
Right.
why that is
Yeah.
about cyanotype and soap. But as soon as someone's like, I learned how to make soap, I'm going to start a soap business.
I
learned
know,
cyanotype, I'm going to start selling cyanotypes.
I know
It's
at
very
least a handful
strange.
of people who have started a soap business.
Yeah, it's very, very odd.
Well, you're trying to make back your losses from your hobby.
And you
Yeah.
also, if you ever make soap, you don't make one bar.
No.
You make like a shit ton of soap. Like
Yeah.
I do it and I make like pounds of soap.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I should probably unload some of this.
For sure.
But I don't know. It's just kind of funny because I used to do a lot more soap making than I do now. I only go through so much soap, so I
Yeah.
do it like once a year or whatever. I make a big batch of it, and then I'm good to go for all year. But there for a while, I was selling soap. That was, oh my god, that was many moons ago. It was over a couple decades ago. But it's just kind of funny. I see certain things, but cyanotype and soap. And I'm like, I should probably do a workshop how to start your own cyanotype business.
Yeah, there you go.
Because there's a lot of that. I don't know why it encourages that. I'm not really sure what the
Cyanotype
The reasoning
soaps and herbal essences.
herbal essences,
Yeah.
like
Or
the
whatever.
shampoo.
You know what I mean. But
But no,
yeah.
I'm not. I haven't quite figured it out. And I guess I only base this mostly off of Reddit. But Reddit's just kind of funny because you'll go and you'll see people post and be like, hey, I'm going to start selling my stuff. And then you look at their post history and like they literally just started and like just learned it. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know. I've been on
Maybe-
there. I've seen that a lot.
maybe work with it a little bit. Feel confident about it and what you're putting out there. And
Yeah.
then start selling it.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I'm
still
not
fun.
too
Just get excited.
Not disencouraging anybody from
Yeah.
selling anything. Absolutely not. But it's just really funny how quickly people jump from that first step of I just learned something to I'm totally making this a business,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. I mean, we live in the world though where everything you kind of have to monotonize, like your hobbies. It feels like so normalized now to do that.
Yeah. That's true.
I live in a world pre that where you didn't have to do that. And then I've seen that switch over where you kind of feel like you have to do that. And a lot of even photographers, like they feel like they can't just take photos. They have to be seen and they have to be recognized and they have to be a brand. And like, it's just kind of funny how that's sort of shifted over the years to be like that. People have to kind of feel like they're a brand.
That's just how it goes.
I know it's how it goes, but it's just interesting how it used to not be like that.
Well, social media has kind of shifted things around.
Absolutely, it has. And I'm wondering if it's not, I don't know if it's for the better, just knowing the world prior to that.
Yeah, I'm
Not so
sure,
sure.
just like anything else, it'll come around.
Because
Balance
it's
itself out.
Yeah.
maybe it'll normalize, but it's like anything that's like becomes a job isn't fun anymore. It's like when they say
Yeah.
like, you know, whatever your favorite thing is to do in the world probably isn't the thing you want to do as a job because you get sick of it,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like one of those things where I hate to see people, you know, especially the hobbyists. You don't want to lose, you know, the hobby is supposed to be a hobby.
Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh.
They could still
Exactly.
be out there. They're just not posting it on Instagram, and you don't know they're there.
Yeah. Yep. Have you shot anything interesting lately besides your motion picture? Your 8mm? Or was it 8 or 16 mil?
So Super 8, but
Super
I
8.
actually recently traded a couple of cameras for Krasnogorsk 16 millimeter. So I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah, I shot a test roll on it and looked pretty decent. So at least I know it works now.
Yeah.
16 is that
whole
much
nother
closer
beast.
to 35.
Yeah, no, not going there
That's a bit
ever.
more of a leap.
Yeah,
Next thing you know,
a
you got
whole
like
another thing.
the IMAX.
Oh my gosh.
I can do this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
fine.
jump
Yeah.
budget-wise.
So for the Super 8, for how long was the video, the music video? How long was it?
Just over 3.5 minutes.
And about how much footage was that?
I shot 4 50-foot cartridges.
Okay.
Those are what, 3.5 each, or what are they?
Yeah. Well, I like to shoot at 24 frames per second, which gets you about 2.5 minutes each.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like the footage looks better
Yeah.
Yeah.
rather than shooting at 18 frames per second. It's a little more jittery and just has a cleaner look to it on 24 frames per second. So you only get 2.5 minutes when you do it that way, though,
Yeah.
which, you know, adds up. But for, you know, this particular project, I wanted the shots to look as clean as possible. So I
Yeah.
thought that it would be important to do it that way.
That's not bad, though. I mean, 25% of what you shot is used. So
Yeah.
roughly, I guess. So
Yeah.
As
I
we're-
still have footage for, you know, maybe other projects too, you know.
yeah.
I don't know, it's been fun. Like I didn't think that I would like it as much. Like initially I had a friend, Josue Kenter, who I've collaborated with in the past, just kind of asked me, hey, do you want to shoot my band's next music video? And we shot a song called Psycho for him just locally. And yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the process. And I think I don't know, it's different. It has a nostalgic look to it, obviously, but I don't know. It's fun, definitely. It just takes a lot of preparation because it's expensive for sure.
Yeah, it adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's something you don't really want to develop or scan at home.
No. Although I've seen someone on YouTube developing it in beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do that.
Yeah.
I think was it like 6 years ago they had Super 8 film that was, I forget what it was. They had some sort of pairing with like beer and saying you can develop it in beer.
Yeah.
It was some sort of like promotional thing. I forget what it was, but the company that manufactures the beer partnered with like the film and did a thing. So I don't remember what it was though.
Yeah. But it's really like, again, comes down to like the scanning, right?
Yeah.
How are you
Yeah.
going to realistically scan Super 8 film?
Well, that's the thing.
Well,
that people would like project it and then set up a camera and like
Yeah.
record it that way. Were you just going to say that? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good on that.
Yeah. I'm like, well, that's just silly.
Yeah.
Why not just shoot it on digital and throw a
Well,
filter
that's
on
how
it?
people do now with film. I mean, people
Yeah.
are shooting with their DSLRs to
Yeah.
scan their film, which
Don't get me
feels
wrong.
very much like digital with extra steps, but
Yeah.
you know, Super 8's different. I mean, my God, like
Yeah.
to realistically scan that, like
Yeah.
at home, like what else are you gonna
they
do?
have a scanner that I think does pretty low quality, but it sends it through a little transfer in front of a camera and
Yeah,
shoots
it's like
each frame.
$300. I think Kodak makes one too. It's a
It's a Wolverine.
yeah, Wolverine, and then I think
Oh,
Kodak has
yeah.
like a similar version.
Yeah.
But I mean, the resolution isn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, just wouldn't. It doesn't look the same, you know. It looks totally different. I'd rather just send it into a lab and
Yeah.
Have it done properly.
have it done
Absolutely.
properly by people who know how to scan those things, because I certainly don't.
Can you imagine flatbed scanning that?
Frame by frame.
Didn't you do something similar with the Lomo chemo?
Well,
Keynote?
that's-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do that way with that setup, but
Which is ridiculous.
you have this little thing that like moves the frame. You snap
Yeah,
a picture and then you
I've
do
seen
another
those.
one.
It's
Well,
like,
they discontinued the app, so I couldn't download the app to like do it. So I had to like pull it all into some program and then make little frame, like do it on a timeline. It was terrible.
That camera
Like,
is
That
rough.
sounds time consuming.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I was like, well, I can't even like play this because the format's weird. But
Yeah, that thing was crazy because it's like you just get the little, it's tiny little box, and you get the little hand crank.
Yeah.
And you're just hand cranking it and like try and make it work. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we had one that didn't work, and then we did another one, and I'm not going to say it worked, but it was like you could see stuff like,
Yeah.
on it. We're
Yeah.
like, well, that was fun. We're not doing that again.
Yep.
But I was surprised you managed to scan it because I'm like, we don't have how are you scanning
I
this?
could use my phone and like
Yeah.
took all those photos and like downloaded it. It was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
No.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun at all.
No. In theory, it seems interesting. There's a lot of people I've noticed with music videos. There was a guy, and he did a music video with Cyanotype, and he did
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And I've seen a couple other ones that have popped up, and people are doing that, and they're
Yeah,
putting little
I think
slideshow
I've seen
type
that on
things
Reddit.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was actually pretty good. Tycho
Well, you-
Jones, or
Yeah,
I'm saying
you-
that wrong maybe, but actually a good musician. I started listening to his music. I was like, hey,
Yeah,
he's
he,
actually
like,
pretty good.
Screen snapped or like used the program to output all the frames and then made contact sheets and then like
Yeah, so he did the video
You know.
normally, like digitally, but then he made
seems like
contact prints
Pain in
of
the
like
butt,
all the
but-
different
Yeah.
frames, and then did all the cyanotypes with that, which you know, for the cost wise, not terrible, because you could do that. You don't have to do huge. You can do it kind of small too. So you probably
make a little
wasn't all
flip
that
book
expensive.
afterwards.
Yeah, there you go.
You absolutely
But-
could. Yeah,
Ugh, I don't know. That's too much.
that's a
work.
lot of work. The video looked really great though.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a lot of work to put into that many cyanotypes to stack on top of each other like that. That's like kind of the hard way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
To do the flip book, but
Yeah.
no, well, very cool that you're doing that with videos though. That's really cool. Like artists sort of, I think it's probably appreciative to artists because, you know, they want to be artistic. They want to do something kind of different that stands out.
Yeah,
So it's a good way to do it.
absolutely. Yeah, I like working with a lot of local musicians in the community. You know, I was a musician for many years myself, so
Yeah.
I know a lot of musicians that, you know, play music, and it's just nice being able to collaborate with people and work on projects. Not always, you know, like we do portrait sessions and stuff, you know, where we do that for money for side gigs and stuff, but the music videos and, you know, working with musicians in the communities, and mostly to collaborate and, you know, work on art and stuff.
Yeah. That's always fun. We always like to work
Yeah.
with everybody too.
It's fun to be creative with other creatives.
Oh my God,
And
yeah.
Exactly.
Especially
yeah.
if you have day jobs that are not creative.
Exactly. Yes.
Like having the non-creative day job is just like, it's such a different world. Like at work, sometimes I talk about some of the stuff that happens in my day job, like not there, and people are just confused and like, like, what are you talking about? And like, they don't, I'm like, I
have no
it's-
clue,
I'm
right?
like, it's fine. Nothing, never mind. It's a very, very different world. It's hard to like keep your creative side going sometimes with that too, because like the regular day jobs can be very draining. On
Absolutely.
the creativity part. And it's like, I feel like I'm always a little jealous of the people that get to live in the creativity world like a lot, which I
Yeah.
realize no one purely is in there. I mean, there's still all the hustle and it's all the business
All the
part that's
business
still
side.
behind all that.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, if you have a job that's like super not creative and you have to like fight against that, I've been trying to like blend the worlds a little bit recently. I've been trying to do that, trying to
don't
be
do
like,
that.
well, a little bit. Where I've been just trying to be like, what can I get from this to get into this that like kind of can merge it together in my brain.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, really hard. You're lucky because you have a somewhat creative job at your job. So.
Well, I mean, I work with a lot of creatives.
Yeah.
Where I work, I mean, we've got a lot of staff that's very creative and has a really good understanding of different things, whether it be photography or art or painting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we also get I deal with a lot of the photography that comes through, and it's always interesting to see what people choose to print and how they present it, and the different levels of people who are like, really refined, and what sort of galleries that they get into versus other people who are, I'd say, a little less refined with their choices, or a little less, I guess, more personal to their own, and where they show their work and how they get their stuff produced. So it's kind of rewarding in a way. I live a little vicariously through people who, drop $3,000 on, prints and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting seeing stuff come through. So it's creative, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely in the creative sphere. I mean, you're not personally doing the creative stuff, but you're
Yeah. I help people.
You're still around it.
Day job and night job.
Yeah. I always thought it'd be fun to kind of merge my job. Like, I go to some of these conferences and things, and it's like all business people. And I was like, I should bring a camera one of these times to start like kind of documenting some of this stuff, because it is like in its own way, like interesting, and it doesn't really get covered by anyone minus like corporate photography type stuff that you see. But if you could see kind of like I don't know. I guess it's a fear of like documenting that stuff and then people like not being super comfortable with what I've documented. But there's like an underbelly in business world that'd be kind of interesting to see from the outside, like for someone else to see it. Because if you're not familiar with some of that stuff, you don't see it as much as you do when you're in it.
I'm not sure how you would do that with insurance or being an electrician, but
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I definitely bring my
I bet
camera
the
to work some
electrician
days.
part, I bet you can get some really interesting photos of electrician. I'm assuming you go to a lot of different places and
Yeah.
you see a lot of really interesting sites and things. I bet I can see that being.
Yeah.
And anytime I know I'm working on a rooftop or something, I'll bring my camera that day.
Yeah.
And sometimes get some pictures, but
Yeah, for him it's great. I work from home, so
I know.
it doesn't really work for me.
Same.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, he always takes his camera.
Yep.
yeah, that'd be fun to experiment with electricity and film, and like trying to get some stuff. I don't know if you've done that yet.
I
but,
haven't. I'll have to mull that over and see if I could
like
think
like
of a way to do that.
yeah, like the little like your barbecue starter or whatever, like doing that to film or stuff. I don't know. It's like it's creative.
Like the X-ray guys.
Yeah.
They started that.
There's a guy we do work for. I forget which gallery he's represented by, but I think he's in like he's in a different country. He's in like Europe, I think. But we do these pieces for him that get represented here in the U.S. and they're like full on like the size of a Jeep X-rays, which is insane. And we just recently went to New York and we saw a poster, or I saw a poster at the Photographica gallery that's there of this guy's work, and it's like full on like X-rays with, there'd be somebody sitting in the driver's seat of this Jeep, or somebody sitting in a chair, and it was X-rays of like skeletons that are like fully articulated, and he'd have to go through and like Photoshop out all the bolts after it's been photographed. But those are kind of crazy.
That's interesting.
Somehow got his hands on like a gigantic X-ray machine.
He's like ex-military or something.
Yeah, like a giant like machinery kind of scanner, like checkpoint scanner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like where do you even get that? Like
Yeah, that's
have no
very
idea.
specific.
Craigslist.
Yeah. Maybe. My brother got an X-ray machine from some mad scientist person once, and he had like this box of chemistry. He's like, "Oh, there's some Kodak stuff in here." And I was looking through it, and there was like this bottle that said oxygen on it. It was like a little tiny one that's like kind of like a propane tank, but like on a like really small size. Probably like the size of like a really tiny volleyball. But but it said mercury vapor on the side. And I was like, holy shit, this is like daguerreotype chemistry. Like, and
gosh.
there's a whole bunch of other stuff that was unlabeled, but there's also an X-ray machine in the kit. And my brother's like, oh yeah, you can totally use this. I'm like, don't turn that on. If I'm anywhere near this house,
Yeah.
do not turn that on.
Be careful.
Yeah,
But,
that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I was
Scary.
like, I'm sure you're pretty competent, but I also don't trust you.
Yeah.
But
God, there's probably
that'd be
a
fun to
whole-
do some stuff like that.
Yeah, like a whole world of creative things you could do with an X-ray machine,
Yeah.
like for photography. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta build like a lead room or something though. So at
Yeah, I don't know about that.
the end of the week,
Pass
we're
on
all
that.
like,
I'll put that on the list further down of things that
we get older and
Yeah.
less healthy. We'll just start doing the more dangerous processes the older we get, because it
Yeah.
won't matter anymore.
yeah.
Have you guys ever shot X-ray film?
I haven't, but I had a few people say that was cheaper back when normal film was actually cheaper and it's
Yeah.
really expensive. But there were still people that were going out and shooting the X-ray film. And it's like emulsion on both sides.
Yeah.
Kind of a pain in the butt to work with. But
Yeah. Crazy halations.
have you used it yet?
Yeah, I've tried it a couple times. It's really cheap. I think you can find it for like $4 or $5 a roll.
Oh man, that's not bad.
It's
So-
even cheap in sheet film too,
Yeah.
and still cheap.
4x5. Yeah.
Is the X-ray film developed the same as regular film?
The
different.
chemistry, it's like a similar chemistry, right? Is that?
Yeah. I mean, I used the same Ilford DDX when I developed it.
Yeah.
I don't remember how long I developed it for.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I had that explained to me once. I'm not exactly sure because I didn't dig deeper, but the way or old school like X-rays used to work is you would have a phosphorus screen, and so you would put that on behind or in front of the film. So you would have your person stand in front of like a wall if you're doing like a chest X-ray, and then behind them is a phosphorus screen, and then behind that is the actual film. And so you would shoot through, and the X-rays would cause the film to change. So it wasn't actually just blasting straight through to the film. So you actually have to shoot, then the phosphorus gets excited by the X-rays, and then that causes the change in the film to occur. So that way you actually see the X-ray.
Oh.
It's kind of like
so-
a contact print.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, I mean, essentially, you're doing kind of like a cyanotype situation where you're having your subject stand in front, and then you're just kind of doing a silhouette of that onto the screen. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody
didn't
came
know
up
that.
with that.
Yeah.
It's just like
Trial
what?
and error.
Yeah. Like, you're just
cool.
gonna stand over there. Just trust me. Trust me. What?
It's fine.
Why does
It's
my whole
fine.
body feel
It'll be
warm?
okay.
So, what film have you guys been shooting lately? And so have you been shooting anything in particular that you've been liking?
I'm still, just trying to figure out that direct positive paper, and figured out a 75 millimeter lens will cover 5x7 if I do the movements just right. So it's about 15 millimeters, super wide. So I'm going to be playing around with that pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah. That's it for me. I don't really even have any desire to shoot anything but that positive paper right now.
That's your jam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting it dialed in.
Yeah.
It's always fun when you get in like a rut there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Sounds
enjoying it.
Stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that. I like
Gets
I start
real
doing.
into it.
I do something until I'm like sick of it. I'm like, all right, now it's time to go.
Yeah.
On my next thing.
Yeah, for me, it's just kind of depends on what I'm doing. Like, I shot a couple concerts recently. Usually when I shoot concerts or shows or whatever, I'll have a digital and a film camera just because it depends, like,
Makes
on the
sense.
venue. Like, depending on the venue, the lighting can be absolute shit.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yep.
Oh,
so
you-
then
you-
only
usually-
the digital camera gets, you use that. But
Usually ends up that way.
usually, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I've had some luck recently where it looked all right, but yeah, it just depends on the lighting. But usually I'll bring like Portra 800 and push it to like 16 or maybe even 32.
No, man.
Yeah, but I mean, looks all right, and then the latitude on 800 is great. So,
That's good.
but yeah, I mean, shooting film in dark venues is kind of a chore.
Yeah.
But I've
It
had
isn't
some
till-
success with it.
It's like it's not till the lead act comes out and they actually turn the lights on enough to
Right.
where you can see them. Like
Yeah.
the first couple acts, they're like, "Come a little closer," or like,
Yeah.
"Stand under the light, please."
Yeah. Some bands too, especially like, depending on the band, like they don't like to be well lit.
Yeah.
I shot a band called War Paint, and the whole time, like each one of them are pretty much in the dark. That just
Yeah.
depends on the genre, I guess, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Bring a spotlight and just like,
hold on, let me shine this in your face real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
First time I saw Tool, I was like, "Where's that little guy?" I don't see him. He's like standing in the back. I'm like, "Bro, why are you in the back?"
Maynard likes to hide when
Yeah.
he's playing with Tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a little guy.
He hides. We
But-
got to
You
see him
guys saw him recently.
We
Yeah.
did. We just saw him recently. Like
Yeah.
Dan like spotted him right away because we were at Crescent. Crescent's a very small venue.
Yeah.
And we were there to see Blonde Redhead, and we like went in and like it was pretty early. We were there before the opener, so the lights were on. And then Dan looked over and he's like, "That guy looks like Maynard." And I looked over. I'm like,
He,
is-
like that
it
as
is
soon
is.
as they said it, I was like,
that is him.
"It
Yeah.
is him," because he looked over at me,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Did you say
Anyways.
anything to him?
No.
"No."
Debated.
Nah.
We totally debated because he was really, really kind, and nobody was bothering him like during the
Yeah.
event. And I think a lot of people didn't know he
They
was there, or
recognize him.
people like there was a few people that did, obviously, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone was being very respectful and leaving him alone. And his wife was there and his child were there, and he was there just to see the show. And it made sense
Yeah.
when we saw him because, like, oh yeah, they opened for him, like, duh, like he knows these people.
Yeah.
But no, he was talking to people at the end, and like after the show was done, and people were being really respectful, and we were debating about it. But
Yeah.
it was one of those don't meet your hero things. Dan didn't
Right.
want it. Like we debated.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd probably be a good venue to like, or a good space to meet him in, but, versus after a Tool concert or something like that.
Sure.
Like,
We debated like 10 minutes. Really,
Yeah. I'm
was-
bummed I missed that show. I wanted to go to, and I totally forgot
so
about
good.
it.
so
Yeah.
good. Yes, they're so good, and such a small venue too to see them is
Yeah,
where
I
you need to
know.
see them. I used to see
I
them a
love
lot
that
in
band.
Brooklyn. I was always where I saw them. They're from Brooklyn, and I like saw them so many times. And then when I moved out here, they just I saw them opening for Tool that one time.
Yeah.
But it was like Crescent. Our friend Tanisa called whenever the tickets went on sale. I remember it was the middle of the night, and she was like, "The tickets came on sale," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
I just totally spaced it because it was on a Monday, right?
It was a weekday.
Yeah,
I
it was a
forget
weekday.
what day it was, but yeah, it was a
Yeah.
weekday.
But yeah, I've seen them a few times out in LA. So
Yeah, they're so great and so great in a small venue. But it was just funny seeing
Maynard.
wait,
Yeah.
is that?
and
yeah,
he
that's
is
Maynard.
tiny. He's a little guy.
He's a little guy.
Yeah, he
Although he
looks
looks like
tiny.
he could
Yeah.
take you out very
I was
easily
like-
if he wanted to. He's pure
Oh,
muscle.
Yeah, I'm sure I wouldn't mess with him. But I will say, though, I was kind of watching him. I noticed that he went over to the merch counter after the first band got off and went up there and bought an album and was chatting with them for a little
Yeah,
while.
he chatted
So,
with the opener.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, I wonder if the opener knew that Maynard was watching them.
Until the
who
end.
was the opener?
Oh, I forget her name. I feel bad.
Allison something.
Oh man, I don't remember. I'm bad with names, so
Okay. You gotta tell me later.
I'll have to
Yeah.
look
Figure
it
it
out.
out. Yeah.
I know the name. It was. They were pretty good.
They weren't bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But really small band. I think it was like the keyboard, her singing, and I think the person on the keyboard also played guitar, and then the drummer.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
and her and the drummer are having their first child.
Yep.
Oh,
So they're together. So,
cool.
but anyways, I digress.
No photos. We could have.
Yeah.
Oh, I took one sneaky photo of Maynard, and it was
Yeah.
like my
And
Wait, did you just take your phone?
just
or-
my phone.
Yeah.
I just used my phone. I
Yeah, a
was
little
just like,
sneak
I'm
attack.
like, what? Yeah, like it looks like he's looking at me, but he really wasn't looking at me, and it was just like over Dan's shoulder. I was like,
I don't know.
I don't want to be a weirdo, but I'm gonna just take this one real quick.
See, I'm kind of like the opposite. Like when I've had those moments with I don't know, bands or musicians that I like and I ran into in random places, like I kind of like force myself to go up to them and just say hi.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'll regret it if I don't, because it's like this
Yeah.
one-time opportunity, probably.
You're
But-
so good at recognizing people too.
I'm good with
would
faces,
not
names,
recognize
nope.
anybody.
Like,
Yeah.
faces, yeah, but I can't remember names
Yeah.
very well.
I'm good with faces.
Dan's
Stacey-
really good with it. Like Dan sees people like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so and so, but it's like you usually just know like their username or whatever. But I think everybody that's ever come through for a workshop, like Dan knows, like, oh yeah, they took a workshop. I'm like, who? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. I'm like so bad with that.
I'm like, you are familiar. Probably took a workshop.
My
or
face
something.
recognition is low.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of people blind, I guess.
Yeah,
Me too.
I was at one of Randy Johnson's opening exhibits.
Foundry.
No, it was the one before
different
that.
one? Scottsdale.
In
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale, yeah.
Yeah, you guys gave me the tickets, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gave us the tickets. We went. And then I ran into the team photographer who's been huge photographer out in LA. He shot for the Dodgers for like 40 years and the Lakers. And I just randomly recognized him there. He's like good friends with Randy Johnson. But yeah, I chatted with him for a while just about film cameras, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But he was just definitely more into digital. He shoots sports. So
yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about like the cameras that he uses and stuff too. But a really nice guy.
Yeah. It's fun when you see somebody and you actually get a chance to like chat with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I don't know. I'll be weird and, hey, Maynard.
Yeah.
Another
The
creepy
distance.
fan. Hey. It was just nice to see him and not have people like go crazy with him. It wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
The overlap of Tool fans and Blonde Redhead fans, probably not that great. It's a kind of different crowd.
Yeah.
And I think the Tool fans are a little different. So if he was there with a Tool fan, like at a metal show or something, I feel like he may have been. It may have been a little different scene
For sure.
than
Yeah.
what it was at the Blonde Redhead show.
Yeah. It is a totally different scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little different, but no photos. A lot of people were on their cell phones. Like,
Yeah.
you know, as always, it wasn't too bad. Wasn't too
Yeah.
bad. Generally speaking, the shows we go to, I guess, is maybe I don't know older crowds. They're a little,
bit, yeah.
little less with it. Mm-hmm. Although there was a lady that was live streaming the entire thing beside us and
Oh,
talking to
like-
somebody on her phone.
Oh,
for
First,
doing
like
it.
3 songs or something like that. Like,
She came back
so
though.
funny.
She did for like the first whole 3 and then she stopped, but then she did it at the end again.
yeah.
when people FaceTime at concerts,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing until
it
recently.
trips
I know,
me
yeah,
out.
it's
Like,
like-
why?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, guys, that
Apparently
doesn't.
that's a thing with like Taylor Swift like fans. They record themselves.
They record
watching.
themselves reacting to it. Yeah, I've seen
Reaction
that.
videos.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. I am definitely way too old to get
There's
that.
too much technology going on. Like, enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm appreciating the artists that make you lock your phones up. Like now, I kind of
We've
want-
never experienced that. Only with comedians.
Tool did that.
Tool
does
did that. Really?
Well, they don't make you lock it up, but they
They'll
say they'll
eject
take
you.
they'll eject you from the show.
And, But
Really?
Pucifer, they do it.
Yeah, 'cause
Same
it's
thing.
Maynard.
It's Maynard.
Yes.
He's particular. And there was some other show we were at. I forget what it was. And then I had that when I saw Paul Rubens for his, unfortunately, before he died, he did the tour. He did the Pee-wee's Big
Pee-wee.
Adventure 25th anniversary, or was it 25? That sounds like wrong. It sounds like not enough.
It's about
But
right.
he did the tour, and then COVID happened because I'm pretty certain I got COVID there.
From Paul Rubin.
From no, not from him, but in
Just
general, because I was I was wearing because people dressed up, so I was dressed like the clown that he attaches his bike to at the beginning of the movie. So I was wearing a clown outfit with all the chains. So I interacted with a lot of people, and then I got COVID like 3 days later. That was like the very beginning of COVID. I was like patient like 2 something in Arizona. I got like the CDC called me when I got it.
Wow.
It was like
Dang,
that soon,
you
but
were one of
I'm
the first
pretty
ones.
certain I got it from that show. But that show, they had a you had to lock your phones up. You can only have them until at the beginning before out in the outside, but they had you lock it up before you came in.
Wow.
They had the pouches. where you had your phone, but it was in the locked pouch, and then they had to unlock it
Yeah.
for you when you left.
Yeah, we've gone to like comedy shows that did that, but I've never
Yeah.
been to a concert and had a request by the band to do that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
done
It's
that. I
interesting.
kind of want that to come back.
Yeah, and there's people. We were seeing people get ejected. From
Yeah.
Tool.
They were definitely getting ejected from Tool.
Yeah.
They were fighting it. Oh, some of those guys were like, "Oh wow!" Like,
So do they just send like the security, like, hey,
Yeah.
they're on their phone. They
yep,
get their phone
and they
out.
drag them out.
Get the heck out.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
They drag them
Yeah,
out.
'cause
That's wild. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be distracting seeing, having to look past people's phones to,
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
But-
It's just, to me, it's just become what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and
You know?
it's hard to. I don't know. You just have to expect that when you go to a show now.
Yeah. But maybe I would like it. I mean, I have an experience where
Yeah.
the phones weren't there. So
Yeah.
maybe I would like it better. Who knows?
We went to Ancient Aliens. I think that was where they told us no phones.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ancient Aliens
okay.
live. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to see the net
I
celebrity.
still don't believe, guys. They didn't convince me.
Wait, like the Discovery Channel show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh
guy
my
with the
God.
hair, like the aliens.
That's-
Yes, it was them. They were doing a live panel / live
Giovanni.
Ancient Aliens. It was basically a live Ancient Alien show is kind of what
Nice.
it was.
Yeah.
That crowd was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mix of different people. A
Yeah.
little strange.
It's different like that. I think David Sedaris was the same, where
Oh,
it was
yeah.
no phones as
Yeah.
well for that. So yeah, and they were yelling at people. I saw them.
Yeah.
A couple people got there late, and maybe didn't get all the like stern warnings. And Pucifer, they had a whole video about being made into spam.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of fun that they kind of do a skit, and then at the very beginning of the show, there's always somebody up at the front of the, the venue, and they're like dressed up as well, and then they have this like handy cam, and then they eventually put the spotlight on them, and then they eject them, and they're like
Spam.
It's a
Yeah.
whole thing, but
It's
But
pretty
they
funny.
they always
Yeah.
do a you can
Yeah.
bring your phone out at the end
yeah,
deal.
Oh, like last song, you
yeah,
can take pictures.
They're
during
like,
this one.
okay, if you want to be that guy, you can do it now. Like this is your song to do.
And do
that.
people?
Yes.
Or
yeah,
they
pretty much
take
the
it
whole
out.
crowd pulls
They,
it out.
they all pull them
They're
out.
like, yeah, oh, thank God.
yeah.
People need to know I was here.
I kind of
now.
wish I had like. I mean, I don't necessarily want
People-
photographic proof of all the concerts I've gone to, but like I probably should document them somehow because I keep thinking back like in the 90s, like all the stuff I saw, and I can't remember it all.
Yeah.
It's all a big blur.
Yeah.
Like I should at least kept ticket stubs or something. I didn't keep anything, and I certainly didn't take photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people took photos back in the day. It was different. I miss lighters because people had the lighter. You know,
Right,
you had your
yeah.
lighter out like
Yeah.
during the show. Now it's like the phones are out in the show.
Yeah.
But it's just so distracting to see somebody on their phone and everyone's like, oh, just do a short thing. It's like, oh, not good.
Break out your 4x5 and shoot at the very end.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously. It's just so distracting. It's like if you're there for a live show, you should be there to be like a part of it. There's a reason that it's a live show.
yeah.
Times
I don't
have
know.
changed.
I know times have changed. It's one of those things where if you've seen it before and you've seen it after, because I was a full adult all the way up through the 90s,
Yeah.
you know, I'm older. I'm 49. So I've definitely been in a world where I've gone to shows and that's never been a thing. Phones weren't a thing.
Yeah.
And it was different and it was better. And I know this just out of personal experience, not just, but if you're always around it and that's all you've ever known for concerts and you think that's totally normal and this is fine, it's actually not. It's really bad and terrible and it's taken a lot away from the show.
Well, at the same time, though, like you kind of touched on wishing you could remember more things.
Yeah.
But now everything is documented.
Everything is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in a way, 20 years, maybe they'll be glad they have that video of the last song at the Tool concert.
Yeah.
I feel like it's getting to the
Yeah.
point where everything is documented so much, though.
Yeah,
that
I know,
It's
yeah.
like just another little, video in a pile of thousands of other
Yeah.
videos. How can you wade through that many to find that?
Okay, but the thing that gets me is like, so why can you bring your iPhone 16 with the best camera and video recording capabilities, But you can't bring your film camera that has a lens on it, a detachable
Yeah.
lens.
Yeah, the detachable lens.
They're
Your
afraid you're going to pull it
70s
off
film
and
camera,
throw it
like-
at someone.
Yeah, what?
I know, it's a very strange thing. It's like you can bring any camera that doesn't have a detachable lens.
It's considered professional
Yeah.
once you have a detachable lens.
It's a really strange
It's odd.
rule. Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that in a lot of places, like the lens.
What do you guys got against film
yeah, exactly.
or DSLRs?
Yeah, really. Well, you can bring your 4x5, you know.
Yeah, this lens comes off, but it's different.
Box camera.
Oh, they just get so confused with that. They
it's fun.
have no idea what they're looking at.
Yeah. They don't even recognize it as a camera.
Like,
I'll take my Graflex to baseball games sometimes. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's nice. You just handheld?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My nephew was playing softball when he was little. When he was probably, I don't know, like 4, 5, 6, something like that. My sister had him playing softball, and I remember I went once and I brought my 4x5, and I shot a couple of frames, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun." So
Oh, yeah.
that's
I
my 2
saw
cents.
you post on a forum about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some like large format photography.com or something.
It was,
like I was shooting at my nephew's softball game, and like
It was I was using the speed pack. They had the in the camera that I got, I had set it up, and it had the speed pack film, which was kind of a trip because back in the day, 4x5, you would actually have like these 16 shot packs of film that you would load into your 4x5 camera, so you can take a picture, pull the slide, snap another picture, pull it, and then
with the
it was
paper
like,
or something.
yeah, and you just rip the paper off. And so if you're trying to like keep track of shots, you can actually make notation on the paper, and it would have the number of the shot on it. And then when you go to develop it, you can say, oh, this is the shot that's probably going to be the best one.
Yeah.
But it was designed so you can actually shoot like rapid fire with those cameras.
Oh, that's
yeah,
true.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's such a trip. I mean, they don't make that film anymore, but it's like really thin.
Yeah.
But it had all sorts of like bubbles through the whole
Yeah.
shot. But yeah, I did post that on a forum.
Yeah.
Totally
It's
forgot
always
about that.
interesting to see all the, anytime you got a question about camera stuff, you go to those forums and somebody answered it in 1995.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
love that. The ancient
Yep.
wisdom
Yeah.
from the
Yep.
people from the past.
Yes.
It's weirdly effective for photography.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, some stuff you can't, but like you do, like Reddit. It's like I put anything I ask for photography, I just put Reddit on the end.
Yep.
Somebody
Same.
out there had the same issue with that same camera or that same film. Like absolutely, and you can totally find the answer.
Exactly.
The joke about YouTube, the guy who has like 10 followers and has a weird accent that has the answer for your camera issue.
Yeah, he has the old
There's
answers.
some video.
Well, I had that the other day with like finding out how to do to develop 116 film on the regular Patterson wheel and reels, and you don't need anything special to do with it. You just put the reels on in a certain way, and I'm like, what? He's like, I learned this by accident, and then I found him by somebody else on I think a Reddit thread saying, hey, you don't have to like get anything 3D printed, nothing. You just use the Patterson reels. I'm like, oh, this guy, he'll tell you how. And like, I went in the YouTube video, and it's like this one guy with like barely any videos, and like he just like accidentally one day found out how to do it that way. I'm like, oh, cool, okay.
That's his contribution to society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, random guy. Now I can do that. Like,
It ain't
awesome.
much, but it's honest work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes the film community feels small, but then
Yeah.
you start, using Reddit and Googling things, and you can easily find somebody that asked that same question or that's had that same issue. Like you said, it's in the 90s or early 2000s, probably it's going to be from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always a bummer is when like you've stumbled upon the answer, but then the product or like the solution doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like, well, I can't get that because they don't make it.
Yeah.
Or like that software doesn't exist, or like you can't get one of those scanners anymore, or it's like some sort of like issue.
Or
always
it's
a
like
bummer.
$10,000 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, Agrachrome. Yeah, you just pick it up from the store. Blah blah blah. It's only like $20 a roll.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
I know. Like sometimes reading about people complaining about like a roll of film being like $4. I'm just like, shit.
I remember
Things were good then.
I remember buying Freestyle had a bunch of film and that they were selling. They had some special on. It was 24 frame exposure of Fuji Color 200. I think it's Fuji Color Superior or Fuji Color 200. It was like $250 a roll.
Oh my gosh.
And I only bought 10. I was like, oh man, I should probably have bought more, but I shot through all of that.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it. That's like 4 times the price now.
Yeah.
Who would have known that's the thing you should have been buying and hoarding and putting in your fridge? Like was
know.
like
Go
let's
back
buy
in
all the
time.
aerochrome and put it in our fridge and just wait patiently for like 15 years and like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious like where it's gonna go. Like will it become so expensive that everybody kind of drops off, or will the popularity drop before that? Like
It's the next Bitcoin.
this is kind of curious like
Yeah.
where it's going to go from here, because it's already a dead format.
Yeah.
So it's always weird to predict like where a dead format's going to go, because it's already dead. I mean, we think it's very much alive because we're constantly using it, but in the big scheme of things, it's not alive at all.
Yeah.
So I'm so curious to see where it is. We talked about that recently with like, where is film? Like where is, the general consensus? Where is, the popularity of it? Where does it lie? Because it's hard to see sometimes. We're in the woods, I think it's dipping again. I think we're starting to age out a little bit, because I think what makes it popular is people that look at stuff kind of nostalgically a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think the kids that looked at it nostalgically are aging out. And I think we're getting into the kids that even the digicam kids are starting to age out now, because that was becoming a thing here for a while where people are like that, the low digital camera ones, 3 megapixel type crap that was their childhood. But now those kids are past that, and you're getting into the kids now that like cell phones were a thing.
Right.
Can't
That
wait
was
for
their thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The OG filters from Instagram to start popping back up again.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
That
terrible
vignette
Oh
one.
my
Yeah,
gosh,
that
yeah.
was like, didn't you have to use them though? I feel like you were forced to use a filter when you first got Instagram. Was that not true? Because I feel like everybody I've gone back and looked at them, everyone had them. So I feel
People
like
just
it was
had bad taste.
like you had to
It
use
was
the
just
filter.
thing. It was.
I think
it's
it
cool
was-
to use the filter.
You had no choice.
You're being artsy.
It's kind of like 80s like bright neon pastel fashion. Like
There you go.
I guess that's kind of like weird
Which,
taste.
by
but
the way, real life people weren't wearing that crap. It
I don't know.
was really ugly. It was mostly browns.
Eh,
It was like-
it's kind of like that
Movies.
though, but I don't know.
yeah.
It's mostly earthy tones,
Yeah.
A lot of
not
earth tones.
pastel.
I mean, clothes were ugly as shit back then. I don't know how we look back at some stuff is just kind of funny. I see people looking back at 80s fashion, and then I see what movies show as 80s fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, we were not wearing that cool stuff. Like, stuff we were wearing was pretty ugly. I would not want that to come back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything comes around, it goes around again. So it's hard to tell. Like, the kids may be aging out, but then the next group of kids may see it. But I don't even know how like a lot of these kids are even seeing film or seeing cameras. And I mean, it's such a niche thing. I guess you'd have to talk to a lot of labs. Labs would tell you, like they know, how many people are kind of coming and going and what
Yeah.
their demo is of like who's actually shooting. But I'm kind of curious what that is, because that group is what keeps the rest of us going.
yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, the rest of us wouldn't have anything. So I always want to know, but it's hard to tell what that is because we're not really in it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Just keep shooting.
Yeah. Till they stop
if-
selling film.
Yeah.
Fujifilm will
And-
stop selling film real soon altogether, right?
Yeah, they're getting there. I mean, they've kind of phased out of a lot of stuff, and I think that since somebody mentioned that the new Fuji is being produced by Kodak or
Yeah.
another lab, so
Yeah, it is. It's Kodak.
so frustrating.
It's all Kodak.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Kodak's going through some changes
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, that's like a kiss of death when venture capitalist comes
I
in
know.
and
It's not a good
Yeah.
sign, right?
snatches
Not
you
a good
up.
sign.
You just have to kind of wait and patiently and see what happens. But no, it doesn't sound good.
Hope those venture capitalists are like, the perfect age for film. They're not like really old like, oh yeah, all the cool kids are doing this now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Soon we'll just be forced to mix our own tin-type chemicals and
Yeah,
shoot that.
that might be where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I said in our lifetime, like, we still want to do this stuff. We're still going to be able to do it for quite some time, but it gets a little scary to think, like, it's something that could go away completely at one point or another, where nothing's available. I mean, I'm kind of amazed always that, like, we can still get darkroom paper and darkroom chemicals and things like that, because it's like so many schools aren't doing it now, and
Yeah.
darkrooms
Yeah.
just in general, it's like a handful of them now in the U.S.
Well, we at my place of work, we have a machine that's really dated, and I was kind of joking. We've had to do some maintenance on it recently, and as the machine gets older and older, it just it's more probable for something else to arise that needs to be fixed. And all the other companies that had this light jet technology, which essentially is like traditional darkroom chemical process with paper. So you're using RA4 chemistry, you're using paper that's light sensitive. The machine, shines lasers onto the paper to expose it, to create an image, and then it goes through a processor and it develops to create a print. And a lot of these machines are kind of getting to the point where they're not making the parts for them anymore. I mean, it's been a while now, but at some point ours is going to go down. But there's a lot of older people who swear by that. They don't like any of the new inkjet stuff. And I remember my boss was chatting with somebody else, and they were like, the people buying my prints, they want to have something that lasts 100 plus years. It's like, oh, it's only going to matter for another 15 for us.
C-type prints.
Yeah, C-type
Yeah.
prints.
Yeah.
So, I mean, realistically, everything's going to go inkjet, and we're not going to have technology like that anymore.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was saying was like, I'm concerned about the parts, but at the same time, I was also kind of like, well, what about the guy who comes out and fixes it?
Yeah.
Because he's up there in age, and there's not a lot of those guys left.
Right.
So it's not just the parts of the machine; it's also the people that have the understanding of how that stuff works. And I feel like with film, it'll be like that, but we still have mass production of film, and there's still a lot of interest in film. And I think it's got to die off significantly for there to be, a halt to production. So, and I think they're so invested right now that it's a ways off before they can, really cut it off. So, I mean, with Polaroid buying back Polaroid from, Impossible Project, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
They're looking at it saying, oh, there's money here. So, stupid money. Why does everything got to cost?
I know.
Seriously.
But that's my TED Talk.
What's tell everyone your plan for if you become super duper rich. What are you going to do?
Oh, I don't know.
You've mentioned it a few
plan?
times. Yeah.
Give everybody a Leica.
Yep.
I'm going to hoard all the aerochrome. Buy it all up and sit on it.
Yeah. We'll go collect all the Leicas back from people. You don't even know how this thing works. Do you know
But it
Oscar
looks
Barnett?
good.
Dan's giving every single person one.
Gatekeep everybody.
Everybody's on the same level.
Yep. They'll be worthless.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Do some sort of thing. I'll get onto the what do you call it? I'll get in with Leica. They have a board of directors, right?
I
Probably.
have no idea.
You'll buy your way
I'll
in.
get on the board. I'll figure
Be a
out how to get on.
majority stakeholder.
Yeah, I'll be a majority stakeholder, and then I'll tell them you need to make one that looks like a Holga.
Yes.
People will love it.
Yeah.
Like that one fashion brand that like turns garbage into like outrageously priced stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Balenciaga. whatever you call it.
Balenciaga.
Yeah.
I found a Balenciaga shirt at
Derelique.
Brass Armadillo.
Did
And
you?
I bought it. Yeah,
Nice.
it's ridiculous.
Baller.
To be
absurd.
ironic.
Yeah.
Love it.
It just says it all over it.
Yeah.
That was the whole Zoolander thing. Derelique. Like, right around, look like homeless people. There for a while. I remember hipster or homeless was a game. The hipster or homeless. I'm not sure.
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
It really is. Yeah, the
Yeah.
fashion is like real close.
Yeah, just depends on if they're stooped all the way.
Yeah, really. That's the new giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you touching
Are
your
you
toes right
standing
now?
straight up?
Depending on the part of town that you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably kind of all it is.
Yeah.
Which part of town are you in?
Yep.
Though that doesn't seem to be mattering anymore.
North? Are you north, south, west?
Got that lean.
You're leaning.
Nice.
Yep.
So you mentioned RA4 just now.
Yes.
I have some of that on back order.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm excited to try that.
Did you get the paper as well?
I got the
paper
paper.
and
I still need to get the chems. I'm gonna wait till the paper gets here, I guess, before I order the chems because I don't know how long it'll take them to
Might
fill
be
the
a
order.
couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, the RA4 chemistry is kind of weird to order. The only thing I could say is once the chems show up and you mix them, you want to run through them as quick as you can.
Okay. Good to know.
I have a kit that I mixed up in the lab, but I don't think that it's good anymore.
Aw.
So
Yeah.
the downside is it oxidizes so quick. Plus, you shouldn't really breathe RA4 chemistry.
Okay.
Good to know.
I mean, technically, all the chemistry really should be
Yeah.
breathed, so. But from my understanding, the RA4 is a little bit rough. So
Yeah.
if you're doing tray processing,
Yeah.
just make sure you have really good ventilation
Yeah.
and do it in don't spend like 4 hours in there.
Yeah.
Or 8 hours in there.
I'll do it
you
in
know.
the bathroom with the fan on or something.
Yeah. There's a guy that was doing RA4 in the tub doing like the trays, and he started using like butane or some sort of gas that was like heavier than air.
Kind of keep it down.
Yeah, to kind of create a barrier between the tray, and so like it would actually prevent oxidization from happening.
Until it blows up or something.
Basically.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like the safer option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's like you have a rodent
It's a trade-off.
infestation, so you invite a bigger
Yeah.
infestation. Yeah.
Well, maybe not butane. I think it was something else. I'm sure.
That's very flammable.
But yeah, something like butane, maybe flammable, but I don't know. But
yeah.
propane.
Yeah, RA4 is very challenging. The whole,
Yeah.
I guess-
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we tried to
color
do
theory
it
and-
last year when we were doing tin types. I think we shot a
Yeah.
couple, and
The exposure is a little bit of a challenge. I want to chat with David Venezia because he's been doing a lot of that recently and been running big sheets of, was it 2024?
Huge, yeah.
18 by 24 or something. That's huge.
Yeah, just massive. But there's a way to do it and, get good, consistent results. I just know that you have to blast that with a lot of light in order to get a good balance. And you have to have a gel filter to balance your color. Because technically your film base is orange for most color film.
Okay.
And then that orange helps with masking. So you wouldn't have like a slide film, you would have a positive. So the color film, it's not a negative where it's, true to that. It's actually balanced with the orange. So when you go to shoot with like a direct positive onto paper, you actually have to have an orange to kind of balance that light out.
Okay.
So, but that's about as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like I've got
David's
some
done a lot.
research to do. Well, I'll hit up David when
Yeah.
we get that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
do, because he seems to have
Yeah.
honed it in pretty good. His
Yeah.
colors are looking really spot on.
Yeah, I told
Yeah,
him he
so-
should be back on again and chat more with what he's been working on. And he's currently almost there to where he can come back on and chat about his large format setup. He recently just got a special back made for his camera, and I think he's almost to the point where he can do that in like a daylit room,
Oh,
like
cool.
go outside with his camera and stuff. So
Yeah, he was having to turn off the lights all completely, and he was having the whole thing.
Darn.
yeah, you'd have to load.
Well, that thing's a
Yeah,
load it in
giant braille camera, and
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
a whole thing that he had going on. He was doing really good, like when he was just inverting them, like just with the lights, where he was doing solarization. He
Yeah.
was doing weirdly good with that. Like he was finding just the right kind of sweet spot, and then he found.
For the black and whites.
Yeah, when he was
Yeah.
doing the black and whites off that, he was solarizing them, but you couldn't tell they were solarized. Like he was doing that nice of a balance on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's like my first direct positive. I just overexposed until it was a negative.
You nailed it.
Yeah,
I
he went
think I sent you guys a
all the
picture.
way
It's
over.
like, what did I do wrong?
Does that look right?
Yeah. Nate sends a picture. I'm like, are you sure you have the right paper label? Because that looks like a negative. Like, no, we blasted it. I'm like, oh, well, go even further.
Yeah. I just keep on giving it more and more light.
Yeah. Just keep blasting it until it turns back into a positive again. That's how that works, right? Yeah, I took a picture of the sun during a solar eclipse back in 2020,
Okay.
2019, 17, something like that. But I did a paper negative of it, and it was funny because it solarized on the paper negative, and I don't remember. I guess it was like it came out weird. I was like, well, I can't scan this now because it's going to come out really
The
strange.
opposite, yeah.
Yeah, but
Something
apparently,
black.
yeah, too much light will cause it to invert back the other direction. So,
Yeah.
but anyways,
It's just all magic.
yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it really is.
I think we're wizards. I feel a little bit like we're little magicians or chemists, and
Yep.
you know, it's like half chemistry, half art.
Yeah.
Kind of a nice mix.
I feel like they're a bit more intelligent than I am when it comes to, understanding like what chemicals do what. I'm like, oh, cool. This has got a flame on it. I'm gonna mix that with this other stuff. Hopefully that,
See what happens.
Some guy with 10 followers on YouTube told you to do something, so you're doing it. Mixing these two chemicals.
we're gonna make some flash powder today.
This will be fine. Yeah, no, I've totally done that. We keep saying like we're gonna die someday in the lab doing something stupid.
Oh no.
Something dumb. I almost did do something dumb. Well, I did do something dumb with the heat with the Mortensage that not too long ago, where it just evaporated completely out of the tray. The tray was literally dry. It came out of the tray so fast. Just a cloud of chems. I was like,
That's really scary.
yeah, I was like, oh, that's no good.
So now you need to figure out how to implement that in a useful way.
Oh my God, yeah,
Maybe
I
a
could.
trap or something.
Make that a weapon of some
Yeah.
sort. Yeah, just drop the chems in together with the water. But whew, that was scary. I was like, okay, what did we learn today? That was the first thing I thought. What did we learn today? Okay, do not do this process in a 100-degree room.
Only in
Yeah.
Phoenix are you going to have that issue.
I know. I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
nobody
true.
else would have an issue like
Yeah,
that. And I
people
was
don't
just,
have 100-degree rooms elsewhere.
yeah, I was just so itching to
Sauna.
do some stuff, and I had some things in my head because I was like, I want to try some stuff out here, and I was like, oh, it's never going to cool down because it did take forever to cool down.
Yeah.
And we just can't get our lab super cool in the summer. And I was like, well,
those
let's try
swamp
this 100
coolers.
degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
You live to tell the tale.
I guess that's kind of the fun, though, right? I mean, it would be boring if we didn't have some of this other stuff. That's why I like the.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like. I have a hard time relating to the folks that shoot film and just send it to a lab and get a digital scan, and they don't even pick up their film.
They're not almost dying.
Like, yeah, like I have a hard
you risk
time
your life for this shot?
relating to that. I'm like, why are you shooting the film again? It's like costs a lot. You don't get that many shots, and it's sort of like digital because you're just getting digital scans back. And like, no, you got to have the excitement of like fucking up.
Exactly. Annihilating rolls and opening the back of your film camera on accident and not putting it properly on the reel. And
Not putting enough chemical
Not
in
putting
and just
enough
developing
chemical.
half a roll. The bottom half.
There's
of
so
each
many
frame.
things you can do all the
Well,
time.
they say you got to know the rules before you break it, but it's
Yeah.
like you got to screw up so bad that you still want to keep doing it.
It's just part of the ride, I guess.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You learn.
Like, what's that? We're sadists? No, masochist.
Yeah.
Just want to keep getting it. Yeah, I'm screwed up again. I want to pay for it too.
Yeah. This wasn't expensive enough as it was.
No.
Yeah, really.
Let's double down. But yeah.
So what's the future hold for you guys? What, do you have things that you want to do that you haven't touched yet for whatever reason, just time or whatever?
Yeah, RA4 is kind of the next thing I'm looking at. Maybe try to practice tintypes more if we can kind of get more interested in more studio stuff, and probably play with the 16 millimeter a little bit.
Yeah. I have actually like a ton of 16 millimeter film right now. So I'm going to be shooting another music video soon.
Cool.
I'll be using that. And yeah, I think just shooting portraits, and definitely RA4 is more so even than tintypes, I think. I'm more interested in that. I don't know.
I'm always saying that I want to do more just standard darkroom and larger printing.
Now that it's
which we have.
cooler, yeah, because
Yeah.
we have our dark room is in an addition in our home, and it's the hottest room in the house, so it gets pretty warm. So typically in the summer we don't do a lot of that, but now that it's cooling down, yeah, I do want to start printing more.
Yeah. Yay for good weather.
Printing's always good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while. Yep.
It's good to keep the skills up.
Yeah.
I try to print, like, if we have open hours and we only have one person and not two people in there, I try to print too, because I'm like, I gotta keep my stuff going too.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that.
No, it's important.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. It's practice makes perfect, but you gotta stay consistent with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dodging and burning and using your filters to get the right contrast, and
Yeah.
just staying up to
Yeah.
up to par with, looking at your test strip before turning the light on and having to review it, and getting to that point takes some time to kinda get the job
Repetition,
back in.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like riding a bike, but like after you broke your leg or something. Sometimes if you spend too much time away from it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I get like that with filtering. I'm like, wait, okay, how do I do this again? Like if I walk away from it too long. Like, I
Yeah.
forgot how to use filters. I don't know.
But that 16 mil should be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of worried a little bit about the registration because some of the results that I got were a little jittery. But oddly, like some part of the roll came out really good, but some wasn't so good. So we'll see. But I don't know. It's the first time like we loaded it too. Maybe we didn't load it totally
We could have
correct.
given a little bit more slack in the film transfer.
Yeah. Yeah. But I definitely 16 millimeter has a look about it for sure. It's a lot cleaner than Super 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, really. Like some of the shots you can get with it, and just the way the resolution on it is just so much better than Super 8 in general.
I feel like you
Yeah.
go 4K easy on that.
Oh yeah,
And then 8K you probably go higher even with that film. We had somebody, Gabe, a while back, ended up bringing over a whole bunch of videos on Super 8 and 16 mil, and he had it was the Rose Bowl parade of like 1975 or something like that.
Pasadena.
Yep. And it was really crazy to watch this 16 mil projection of a film in color that's starting to fade and turn purple, but it also had the audio strip to it.
Oh,
So you can hear like the announcer talking about the floats,
oh,
and
cool.
the audio sounded so rich, like so clean.
Wow.
Coming off of I think it was a magnetic strip, the way that one was set up. But we watched this projection, and just funny because it's like, normally it's like not an interesting video, but the
Yeah.
fact that it was projected, and we had like this audio that was just so rich, was like enjoyable to just sit there and watch this Rose Bowl parade.
Yeah.
For, I think it ended up being like 20 minutes or so, with how much footage there was on the reel. So
I remember going to Rose Bowl parades when I was a kid. Actually,
Yeah.
growing up in LA,
they have those like once a year.
once a year. Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's in the new year, right?
I think so. Yeah, So I know it's in Pasadena. I was really young when I went, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's during New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Is Pasadena near Lompoc?
No, isn't that
that's-
Northern California?
I don't know. My grandpa used to live in Lompoc, so
Lompoc.
and I just remember
it
it.
might be Northern, like the Bay Area.
Yeah, one year he sent a photo, or there was like this photo that was published, I guess, and they made like the American flag with roses in this field, or maybe it wasn't roses, but it was like flowers or something. But I remember that being not too far off from where my grandpa lived, but I don't know. That's all I know. But
So where can people find you guys? Like, where are you at? I know you're on Instagram. What are the Instagrams?
My Instagram is Lucinda Garderis. Sorry, guys. I know it's hard. And I have a website, lucindagarderis.com.
Cool.
And mine is nate.ography, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. I don't post very often, but yeah.
well, in case somebody wants to reach out, they can
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you guys for being on.
Yeah. Thanks for having
Our
us.
spooky
Thanks for having us.
Happy
Halloween
Halloween.
episode.
You might have been able to hear the kids screaming in the background.
There was
Yeah.
a lot of kids screaming, which is a little strange because we never hear kids screaming here. So I don't know where they're coming from.
Part of the podcast as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
Thank
for coming
you.
on.
Hopefully you have some more fun projects and we'll get to see what you guys do.
I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.